Hello, world. Welcome to the 261st Climate Change Emergency Protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I had a whole speech lined up. I even did one outside, and it was windy, and I got in a mood, and I decided to come back and redo it. Essentially, it's going to be the same thing, but a little less hostility and upsetness at what's going on. I'm just going to give you to the facts as to what's happening, and I've cut out this whole other talk I had going. So this is number 261, Climate Change Emergency Protest, and it is November 22nd, 2023, 60 years after John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And then next week will be number 262, and that'll be on December 1st, 2023, or maybe a little earlier. I like doing them on Wednesdays and then broadcasting or rebroadcasting them through the week up till Saturday night. So right now the world crossed the 2 degrees Celsius barrier for one day. It's been pushing the edge for the whole world for that all last week, and it reached 2.06 degrees above the Celsius above the 1880 baseline on Friday, November 17th, 2023. 2.06 degrees above the baseline. And for the year, we're at 1.54 degrees above the 1880 baseline for the whole year, and most likely we'll be pushing 1.6 degrees above the 1880 baseline because October was the hottest October ever in 125,000 years, basically since humanity began being coherent. So it was also the hottest October ever in the history of humanity in 125,000 years. So we're having a situation getting worse and worse and worse, and they keep touting that the United States is producing less carbon dioxide and things like that, greenhouse gases. Not true, because what we're doing, all we did since 2005, they said, what they're doing is they're bending statistics, and that our iPhones now are made in China, our products are made in China, our imports are from other countries. We don't make a whole lot of stuff here in the United States. We consume. We're a consumer nation, but producing nation, not as much as we used to be. So back in the past, before 2005 and NAFTA, which certain political parties, both parties, were involved in, that shipped jobs overseas. Before that, we made stuff here. Now the responsibility has been thrown onto other countries, and now they're the biggest emitters, but only because we're buying their stuff. So the statistics are being bent every which way. So carbon dioxide is going up and up around the world. Right now, it is November, and carbon dioxide level has been at 418 parts per million, as high as 422 parts per million, and it's only November. I mean, this is unheard of, and most likely we will soon be pushing 424. If you look at the charts, it goes up and down and fluctuates, but the basic trajectory is up, and which will be the all-time high, and it won't even be January yet. And the carbon dioxide level will keep rising probably until May. And what does this matter? Well, there's a delayed effect. It's kind of like going to the beach and getting sunburns and as a kid, and then 40 years later you have cancer, which happened to me. My right eye, I had cancer down here, basal cell cancer, and it sounds like nothing serious, but it ended up being serious, and it took 4 hours of Mohs surgery and then another 4 hours of regular surgery. They ended up putting a plate in my face. Most people don't know that. That's why my eye looks all squirrely. So it was pretty horrendous. And that was the effects of, as a kid, we used to go to the beach and get sunburned. And then 40 years later, here it is. I've got cancer in my face. And, also I lived at the beach for a summer when I was in college and got sunburned repeatedly, day after day. Suntan, sunburns, all the same. It's bad effects. So what I'm saying is that there's a delay effect. You get the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It can be delayed 10 to 30 years, if not longer, the effects of that carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. So we're going to be paying. We have a lot of built-in bad things coming our way, and you have leaders in charge that don't recognize that. You also have immediate effects. You can have, it occurs immediately as a result of heat in the atmosphere and carbon dioxide as well, and also the past. So you're getting storm surges due to larger hurricanes that would go from a tropical storm to a hurricane category 5 in 24 hours. That's happened recently in Acapulco. In fact, it wasn't even a tropical storm. It was less than a tropical storm. Then it blew up to category 5. You end up with heat waves, which are short-term effects, and then you heat domes, which might last a week or a month or so. You have can't read my writing. Stronger hurricanes, as I said. Droughts, flash droughts, things like that can occur. Deluges of rain, 1 to 2 feet at a time. You can end up with derechos, straight line winds that happen. These are immediate effects that happen, and we're not talking about the long term effects, which is several. We talk about dozens of things that happen if you keep the heat up for a long period of time. Bad things really happen. You get flash droughts too. I don't know if I mentioned that. So, what I'm trying to say is your leaders are in charge right now. Those in charge, they aren't recognizing what's happening. You got the Republican Party in the United States. It's overt denialism. Friends, family that it might be in the Republican Party, neighbors, uh, they don't talk about it. And if they do, it's a hoax. It's not true. It's not real. It's not happening. But there's no difference between that and de facto denialism done by the Democrats, the other party down in Washington, D.C. And de facto denialism, you keep on doing what you're doing, even though you acknowledge it. And that's really psychopathic behavior. One thing is sociopathic behavior where you don't see it and it's not happening. Psychopathic behavior is when you know it's happening and you continue to do something that's going to kill millions and millions of people. The difference between being a hero nowadays is that if you kill tens of thousands of people, you're a fighter for the cause and everything like that. But if you kill 10 people, you're a psychopath. But there's no difference. The psychopathic behavior of the politicians right now is that they are engaged in drilling and authorizing more drilling, taking money from the fossil fuel industry, engaged in the war industry right now. In spite of all the calamity that's coming our way with climate change, they keep going on the way they are going on. There's both parties down in D.C. And so you have that. You have the national parties that are overt denialists and de facto denialists. But you also have the state. Pennsylvania produces a ton of natural gas, which is nothing but methane. It's a horrible greenhouse gas, and in the first 2 years is 160, 180 times more potent than carbon dioxide. After up to 2 to 20 years, and it's still 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Pennsylvania produces a horrendous amount of natural gas as well as some oil. So they have the state representatives that are horrendous, and then you have the governor of Pennsylvania who happens to be a Democrat. Everyone gives him a free pass, but the guy's engaged in stuff that here we are, we're going to end up dying of climate change and various effects of it. They keep going on. And then you have the local representatives that don't recognize it at all. Gettysburg is not ready for what's coming our way next summer. I really think we're going to have tremendous heat waves that are coming for the whole United States. And we're not hardening anything up. People aren't talking about it. People aren't getting ready for the deluges, the heat waves, the cooling centers. They're building an apartment complex downtown, which will generate even more heat for the downtown. A heat dome will occur, and it just won't go away. It'll be hotter and hotter downtown. So I've talked about that. Last week I was down there at that site, and that's the last time I was going to be there. There's no point keep trying. And until you, the voters, start recognizing the two parties right now are hell-bent on killing you, and you need to get away from those two parties and give a message that you're not going to stand for it anymore, we're gonna end up in a hellscape. You vote the same, get the same. You're not going to get any change from the same people that got you into the problem. You need a total shift and a revolution, basically, in the voting box as far as voting for the same people. Stop doing that. Write in people that are progressive as far as climate change goes. I don't care what party you're in. You have children. You have grandchildren. You have husbands, wives, whatever. You will not survive this in the same fashion that you're living now. In fact, we might end up all dead. Who knows where this is headed? I can pretty well tell you my own personal feelings is that we're in deep trouble. And we're going to have trouble surviving after 2026 and beyond. And it's going to become more and more of a struggle. So, on that note, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Of course, no one will talk about climate change during Thanksgiving get-togethers because that's not the proper time because it upsets too many people. Then Christmas comes, and that's not the right time because that upsets too many people. Then New Year's comes, and that won't be the right time because that's a bad way to start the new year. Then it's Easter, and then, it's about new birth and everything like that in spring. And then after that, it's everyone's taking vacations, and we can't talk about that then because that ruins vacation. And then in July, you got the 4th of July and things like that around and going on. And we can't talk about it then because, we got parties and everything. And then it comes down to Memorial Day, or Labor Day, rather, which is about unions and solidarity. And, you don't want to talk about it then, in spite of the unions needing their jobs in the future and not, let alone living. And then we're in November again. We're talking about Thanksgiving and stuff like that. We can't talk about it then because it's uncomfortable. So we're in a round robin situation. We're in a complex, a psychological complex, that people see a problem, which is sociopathic, if not psychopathic behavior, and that you continue to vote for the same people who are going to kill you with their policies. And it might be good people. I don't care. Their policies are going to kill you. And here we are, and here I am. And, it's nice to do a separation, go, well, it doesn't matter what Joe does next door or Tammy does over down the street, but it does, because we're all in this together. We're all on one lifeboat Earth, and the holes are being drilled in the bottom of the lifeboat, and constantly drilled, and you can't keep plugging them up, and the cascade effects of devastation will continue and get worse and worse. So I'll catch you next week. Don't talk about it over Thanksgiving, though. It'll ruin the holiday. Try the next day afterwards when it's Black Friday and everyone's going shopping, and go, maybe that's not a good idea. I'll catch you next week. That'll be number 262.